Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, so we'll get started. For those of you who don't know, my name is Eric Hopeful, and with me is Ruth Ellen Doyen. And this morning we're going to give you your first look at the new system. We'll talk a little bit about where the project is, then we'll go into the training environment and show you some of how the new system is going to look and work. And we'll have some time at the end for questions, and if you're hearing anything from folks out in your agencies or business units. As always, if you have questions, feel free to ask. If you want to type them into the Skype box, we'll get to those and answer those as we go. So on the project, we're currently getting towards the end of systems integration testing. As far as I know, all of the scripts have been tested. There are some things that are being cleaned up, but we're on target to end that at the end of next week. We're also working on the beginnings of our test move 2, and this is the second time that we try to move the system practice moving the system from the old system to the new system. And this is all to get us in shape for that go live weekend, so we have all those moves down and that we can do it in the time frame that we have allotted. So that'll be starting next week, and we'll be going through that process the next week or so. We are currently working through the training materials development process. We've started working on the manuals, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of pages to update, but we're making headway there, and our goal, as I mentioned in the last RCN meeting, is to have all of those materials ready by mid-December and also have a sandbox environment for the new 9.2 system up and available to you the month of January, so that you'll be able to get in and try some of the work that you need to do. And we'll also hold some open lab sessions during that month, so you can come in here and we'll have people sitting with you so that if you have questions on specific business processes, we can help you work through those. So we're feeling fairly comfortable with all of that, and we'll keep you posted on more training information as we've ironed out dates and times for any kind of webinars and those kind of things, and where to find them and what will be available. So I know you're probably anxious to see what the new system will look like, and yes, we do have a system. So I'm going to share my desktop. Let me know if you're not seeing this. It should show the login screen for the training environment. If that's not there, please let me know. Probably by phone, because now that I've shared my desktop, I can't see the message thing. Is everyone able to see that?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, great. So one of the features that we have in the new systems, you will be able to sign in using your employee ID number. You'll no longer have to remember your Vision user ID. It will still exist, and it is used by the system to do certain things. But just like in the HR system, you will be able to log in using your employee ID number, and all of those, if you saw that of mine, please promptly forget it. Not that it matters much, but just in case. Now, this won't do this because I've been working in the system, but when you first log into the new system on day 1, you will be directed to set your forgotten password ID security questions and set that up so that when you do have a case where you have forgotten your password, it will work for you. So we're hoping that will reduce the number of times you need to call into us or send emails. You'll be able to fix it as you go. It should be a lot more convenient for you. So as you can see, the new home screen looks quite different. What you're seeing here, these are called tiles, and these tiles will lead you to different areas depending upon what PeopleSoft module you need to get your work done in. I'm going to take you to the expense module. I'll talk a little bit more about some of this top bar up here in a few minutes. So the Expense Coordinator Work Center, this is where you'll go to do your work on expenses. As you see over on the left-hand side, these are what are called pagelets, and there's 4 pagelets on each work center. There's one for My Work, there's one for various links, which lets you get you to the PeopleSoft pages you need to do your work, and there's also ones for reports and queries if you click on the second tab up here. So looking at the My Work section, you can see that there are links that have numbers next to them. Those are counts for items that you need to take a look at. Since this is mine, if you click on them, it will bring the work list up in this work place here in the work center. I don't have any approvals because that's not a role I have, but if you do, you'd have lists of expense reports, for example, you need to approve, and you can click on the expense report number, go see that. It will have a bar at the bottom that says approve, deny, and you can add comments to that. If you send it back to the employee, you can do it by checking the boxes over here, and it will have actions down here that will also let you approve selected transactions and things like that. So it all takes you right to these different things that you need to do. You can see how much work you have that you need to do here as well. On the links section, this has links to all the different kind of places you might want to go. So if you click down, you can see these little carrots here. These, if you click on those, it'll open up different pages that you can go to. If I want to delete travel authorizations, I can click on the link. And again, it will bring up the functionality page you're used to seeing, where you can go find travel authorizations that you want to delete. So there's various ways to get around. In this links section, there's you scroll down, all of the work centers have links to other work centers. So again, you don't have to go back to the home page. Let's say you're working in expenses and now you need to go do something else. You can link on the different work centers and go to those as well. One of the neat features is in these different pagelets, other than the My Work pagelet, you can make edits to those. So for example, if I have a piece of work I really want to do, I can add a link to that. I'll do one fairly quickly just to show you how easy it is to do. So you click on this links pagelet setting, click on personalize, and it will bring up a list of all of the different links that are already there. So these are called link groups. And if you remember back in the pagelet itself, those little carrots that you could click on to open up more content. This is what the carrot is here. So there's 11 here in this one. If I want to add one called My Links, I would click on the plus box up here to add a new group. So I'll do that. I'll call it My Links. And the display order, as you can see, there's 12 things. I'm going to make it 12 so it shows up last. And you can tell it to start the group collapsed or start it open. That's how that little carrot works. If I click Start Collapse, it's just a carrot with the title My Links, and you might have 8 links underneath there that you won't see until you click on the little carrot. But if I want it to open with all the links visible, I can leave that unchecked. I'm going to check it. And if I want to go and add something, I can say I'm going to add a link to a PeopleSoft work page. You can add links to menu items of PeopleSoft work page, a URL. Let's say you want to link it to the manuals page on our work site. There's a link to this in there anyways. But let's say you wanted to do that. You can click on URL and then just type in the URL that you want to add to it, and it'll add that link. So I'll go to select menu item. And what you have here is a whole list of all the different pages that are in PeopleSoft. So I'm going to say, let's go to travel and expenses. You can see here there's the different levels. Let's say I want to go to manage accounting. Again, you can see the different pages. Let's say I want to request budget checking. It brings up this. I can override the label and call it something else if that makes more sense to me. If I just click on OK, it adds the page. If I wanted to open in a new window, I won't here. If I would click this. If I leave that unclicked, it'll just open in that work center when I click on it. If I hit save, you'll get this message that says refresh the page to see your changes. Click OK. Close that box, and I know I'm whipping through this, but this will all be covered in webinars and also manuals. So if I refresh, which is just this little button here, I should see, and down here is My Links. Now I had added one earlier in this one doing one of the manuals, but look at that, there's where the content I just added is. So it's pretty easy, and it allows you to add links to the content that you might want to add to these. Again, the only one that you cannot update is the My Work section. The reports and queries pagelets work pretty much the same way. You can add links to those the same way just by clicking on the personalize and go through and follow the instructions to do that. So looking at this upper bar here, as you've probably noticed, there's no longer breadcrumbs, which is something that I know we all like, but we really believe that the work centers are a better way to get around. and get you to the links and the content that you need to get to easier. You can always click on the home icon here, and it'll always take you back to the home page, back to those tiles to go to the different areas. If you want to do a search, you can click on that, search for function pages, and it's actually fairly robust. Oftentimes you'll find what you want. This actions list, this is where you'd sign out. It's where you can add to my I think I have to be on the content piece, but you can add to favorites there as well. And the other way to navigate in 9.2 is called the nav bar. If you click on this icon up here, it brings up this. There's a list of, there's a tab to my favorites. These are things that I have myself set up already. Click on the navigator, it brings up all the content options that you have. So you can still go back to travel and expenses and go this way if you want to, but again, we really feel that your best way to go through is through the tiles to the work centers, because all the links that you'll need to get your work done in travel and expenses are available there. So that's really kind of a quick and dirty look through what the new system's going to look and feel like, and the navigation. We're really excited about the work centers. We think those will help you out a lot in getting your work done. And again, as you can see, they're fairly easy to personalize. If there's links that we didn't put on that you use commonly, or you want to add something in the expense work center that you wouldn't normally expect there, but it works for you, you can add those links. And it is pretty straightforward to do that. So any questions about what the I got a question that I didn't see. Could I slow down so you can take notes? Well, I have recorded this, and I will also be releasing fairly soon the Vision 101 manual once it's approved, because that covers all of these kind of issues, and it will get you so when you go when we open up the sandbox, you can go in and actually do things. You'll have that guide to get around, and it will cover all of these issues. So I just wanted to give you a sense of what it did, and not treat this as a training session, but really just give you a sense of what we're doing. Any other questions, comments about what the system's looking like so far?
Eric, this is Marcy over at Ag. When you went into the expense work center, it looks like the reports and queries were only those related to the expense module. Is that the way it's set up, or is there a reports query work center that will give us everything?
It's set up so that the reports that you need in that particular module are set to the work center. You'll still be able to find all the reports you would want through the nav bar that I showed you, but we don't have a reports work center set up.
But there's, Marcy, this is Ruth Ellen. There's also a link on each work center to Query Viewer. So even if you're on one work center for, say, the expense work center, we've only put on there the expense queries, but we also have the link to Query Viewer, so you can get to all queries that way.
So I'll show you that, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you show us how the user will attach things to their expense report, or how the approver will see the attachments?
Yeah, next time. We're going to be updating the training database in another week or two, so all of that functionality will be easier to show you. So at our next meeting, I will certainly do that. I'll add that note to that. And if you have any other specific things you're interested in, please let me know, and we'll see if we can cover it during the next meeting, if that's okay.
Brenda, was that you?
Yes, that was me, and that's great. Thank you. I'll invite somebody else in my office as well, because they would like to see that. So thank you.
I will tell you that during our testing, we have attached a lot of documents, and it is super easy.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, it is. And I've done quite a few, not in the expense module, and it basically works like you would see attachments in any website. So you click on it, we'll tell you to browse in your, wherever you want to go find it. You click on upload, and it's there. So it is really easy to do.
Perfect.
And pretty common to how people are used to doing it in any kind of web setting.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Thank you.
You know, that one enhancement may very well be the thing to tout to the world for improvement. That's going to be huge.
The attachment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we'll spend some time hopefully in the expense module next time because I think it's the one that affects the most people. And I think it's going to be easier for people to use than today's is, obviously. Hopefully that would be true. But we'll spend some time in that, I think. That's good. Any other questions about the project or where we are now? I got a question. Where can I find the webinar recordings? We haven't done those yet. As soon as we have those up and available, we will. My plan is to make those available through the HR training website, SovLink. If I remember if that's the right name for it. And again, we'll let you know as soon as they're available and where they are and how to get to them. The webinar recordings for these are on, I'll send that link out again. I have them as part of our, if that's the question, I have them as part of our project website, and I'll send that link out again to let you know where that is, where they are.
Is there any chance that since we're signing on using our employee IDs that we're getting closer to a single sign-on between Vision and BTHR?
I think the answer is probably no. That's not what this is about. That's a different issue. But that's also outside of the scope of this project. So for all I know, there are people talking more about that, but I haven't heard anything. Is that reasonable?
That's fair. Yeah.
It would certainly be a nice thing. I got a question. Will other modules allow uploads of documents too? And the answer is yes. The functionality of adding attachments is available in various places. So for example, in the grants tracking module, you can upload the grants documents and you'll be asked to. So yes, there's quite a few places where that does show up.
And especially in accounts payable, you can load a copy of the invoice to a voucher.
Any other questions or comments, concerns, questions you have about the project in general, about the go-live date, as we talked about last time? That's now targeted for the first weekend in February, and that's a go. As of this, you never know. Something major that's not foreseen can happen, but we're on track, and we fully expect to do that.
If we can upload invoices, are we going to be able to do away with our file cabinet?
That's, I think, a decision that is dependent on record retention, and that is not my area of expertise. So as of right now, we haven't archived anything in our system, but that may change. So I'm not really sure if our system would be the system of record for that invoice or not. So, I mean, that's a conversation that maybe needs to be had and thought about once we go live and once people start using it consistently. But I'm not really sure what the answer is right now about that. I mean, I think right now, if you're scanning documents, if you're scanning invoices and keeping a digital copy, I believe that you don't need a paper copy anymore. I believe your digital copy is your record. What I am not sure about, though, is if you have that record in Vision. I don't believe that Vision becomes the system of record. I still think you need to keep your own copy of that. Like I said, that's a way bigger conversation beyond.
Yep, this is Brenda from A&R, and I think we have a digital system already that we've developed over the years, and I think the original question when the Go Live was first talked about was the amount of volume you would have to be able to attach a fairly large volume to an individual voucher to be able to make it a system of record for us. So that was a concern that we had, that you wouldn't be able to attach everything that you would need to for particular vouchers.
Correct, right. And given the archiving capabilities, once we do start archiving, there may be records that need to be retained a lot longer for grants and that kind of thing in the department than would be needed to be retained in Vision for financial information. I think that's another competing issue. Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Again, you'll be hearing more from us about training, and next RCN meeting we'll spend some time in the expense module and show you how attachments work. But as we said, I think it's pretty intuitive and fairly straightforward to do that, and people will not be confused because it works pretty much the same as it does for any kind of attachments in a web environment. And thank you again for joining us, and if you have any questions or concerns in the meantime, certainly drop me an email or send an email to the project web box, and I will send out a link to where these sessions recordings are to all of you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.